Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, I want to talk about a major transit that everyone's going to want to know about, and that is Jupiter moving into the sign of Gemini. And this is going to be happening May 14th, and Jupiter stays in a sign for approximately 1 year. Now, Jupiter also takes 12 years, give or take a year sometimes, to go through all 12 signs of the zodiac. So we're gonna focus our attention backwards in time to better understand what this Jupiter transit means for the world, the economy, where we're headed, and personally. So this video is going to entertain you quite a bit because everyone wants to know where Jupiter is. That's the first thing we look for in a chart. Why? Because Jupiter's fun, Jupiter's expansion, opportunities, good luck, money, wealth. Who doesn't want to know where Jupiter is for the next year or so, right? So Jupiter's going to be changing signs May 14th. And let me remind everyone, I am a Vedic sidereal astrologer. Yes, this is a different placement than what you might be thinking about if you're following tropical Western astrology. Why do I do the Vedic? Because it is the true placements, astronomically, according to the signs and the stars. Don't you want to know where something really is? Well, that's what got me into Vedic astrology. I wanted to know where the planets really are sidereally, according to the signs and the stars. It really does make a difference. So before I get going into this wonderful dissertation about Jupiter, I want to remind everyone to sign up for my free newsletter. Go to galacticcenter.org, and when you do, you'll be getting all of my predictions free, delivered to your email address every week. Furthermore, do not forget while you're there, check out my Patreon group. It is a spiritual community. I meet with everyone live weekly. We talk about what's going on in the world. You don't have to know astrology to be part of this spiritual community. So many advantages. Just check it out on my website and you'll be sold. You get my magazine, you get the live class, you get my write-ups on what days are best. These are very special. Plus, you'll be even put in for a spin to get a free reading from me. There's more, but that's my Patreon page. You will find that on galacticcenter.org. Don't forget my Galactic Planner. I think it's the best thing going because now my Galactic Planner has the dashas. It will give you all of your dashas. This is something no other planner does. Over 10,000 dissertations of dashas and subcycles according to your birth chart. All of your transits are calculated and put into your calendar on your phone or your computer. Go to galacticplanner.com. And one more thing, if you want to study Vedic astrology, I have an online school that is stellar. Check it out. universityofvedicastrology.com. Now let me talk about Jupiter. I love Jupiter. It's my favorite planet. I don't know though. You know what? We got to learn to love Saturn. Because I always tell people, I'd rather have Saturn as my friend than my enemy, because Saturn can really mess you up if it's not your friend. But this whole video is meant to be about Jupiter. Jupiter, whatever it's next to in a chart, whatever house it's in your chart, deals with expansion. It's a focus. It's someplace that you're going to expand your awareness in all the areas that that particular house is all about. But what I want to talk about is how Jupiter, when it moves into Gemini, is going to change our world. This is what we need to know right now. Now, once again, Jupiter is going to go into Gemini May 14th. And like I said, it stays in a sign for about a year, but this particular transit's a little unusual because it's going to go in and out of Gemini at one point, but back into Gemini again. So basically that window of time that it's going to venture into Cancer, where it will only go to 0 degrees of Cancer but stand still, and then retrograde back into Gemini for the following 6 months after that. So that window is October 18th through December 5th that Jupiter will go 0 Cancer, stand still. But then by December 5th, Jupiter will go back into Gemini, where it will remain till June of 2026. So basically it's almost a year. It's just that we have that little window, then it kind of ventures out but back. So what does Gemini mean for Jupiter? Gemini is the sign, first and foremost, of communications. So it has everything to do with how we communicate, how we pass on information amongst each other. So one of the things that is part of our desire body is to connect to other people. I don't care what you say. If you think you can live alone, be alone, and not connect to other people, that's not normal. We're meant to connect to other people. We're put here on the planet to be together, have families, connect, share. This is Gemini. Gemini is sharing information, communicating. It actually deals with every form of communication. Therefore, Gemini rules the computer, the internet. It rules telephones. It rules social media. It rules any way that we connect, television, videos, any way of how we connect. And you know what else that entails? That's also travel. Because traveling is a part of a way that we connect to one another. We go be with each other across the world or down the street, but traveling is a part of what Gemini rules. And another thing, Gemini is the planet that rules, that is associated with Gemini, is Mercury. And Mercury is the planet of what? Communications and travel. And another thing that it rules is education and school. So these are all things that are going to come to the forefront while Jupiter is in Gemini. But I left something very interesting and important out that I'm going to talk about now. What is it? Well, did you know that Mercury, the word mercantile, which comes from trade and connecting with business, that Mercury comes from that word. Mercury is the messenger. Mercury is the planet that connects, gives messages. It's like Mercury was the winged feet, that we really do connect with others through connection, but business. And so therefore, Mercury rules trade. And that is the whole focus and issue going on around the world right now. Do we have trade wars going on? What is going to come of this? Well, personally, I have to believe that these trade wars are going to turn out well. And I don't mean just for the United States, for everyone. Why? Because Jupiter's in Gemini, ruled by Mercury, which rules trade. So I think that what's going to come of this, y'all probably don't believe me right now, but you'll see as it all plays out. It's going to be a win-win situation. And things are going to manifest and happen that are positive concerning world trade and business. We're going to learn to work together in fair trade. This is going to be a healing. So these tariffs that everyone's freaking out about, I think are going to end up being a positive for us all. We're going to learn great lessons. We're going to learn how to communicate and negotiate with people to make it fair, not all one-sided. That's Jupiter in Gemini. Now, let me talk a little bit more about this. So since it rules school and education, these are going to be things that are going to be vastly worked on and improved during this window of time. Lots of elements of how to learn, better ways of learning. Education's going to open up in a new big way. It's going to be fantastic. Schools, different kinds of schools that teach in a new way, that make learning fun and easy, and using more devices that will help advance our intelligence in the world. We've been needing this for a long time. Truly, there is an opening of education and new learning. And people are ready to learn new things. So I feel like Jupiter in Gemini is also going to help people learn new things, open their mind to things that they were closed off to before. Maybe even the impossible inventions, technology is going to expand and go through an incredible transformation. This is really exciting. So let me give you a few dates because, you know, as a Vedic astrologer, we work with something called the nakshatras. There are 27 of them. They're smaller portions of the zodiac, whereas a sign is 30 degrees. The nakshatras are 13 degrees, 20 minutes. If you take the 360-degree circle and divide it up into 27, you will find the portions are 13 degrees, 20 minutes. What I think is fascinating too is that is the mean motion of the moon per day, and the moon stays in a nakshatra one day. And that equates to the lunar calendar of India, 27 days. So aside from that, what I want to talk about is what nakshatras Jupiter is going to be in while it's in Gemini. And in each sign, there is actually 3 nakshatras. And some of the nakshatras flank over into 2 signs. So while Jupiter first enters into Gemini at 0 degrees, it's going to be in the nakshatra called Mrigashira. And Mrigashira's nakshatra is about the search. So Jupiter will be in Mrigashira. It's already been in Mrigashira, but when it does go into Gemini, it's already in Mrigashira, and it will be there till June 13th. So May 14th to June 13th. And Mrigashira is about the search. So people are searching, analyzing, hunting out things, finding things, putting together collections, making things come together in searching and finding answers. So this is a great thing because Gemini is about learning. Mrigashira is about the search. So searching for answers. And it's ruled by Mars, this nakshatra. So it is action-packed. A lot of forward movement, moving forward. Now, so June 13th through August 12th, Jupiter will be in the nakshatra called Ardra. Ardra is a difficult nakshatra. It actually is ruled by the god Rudra, which is the storm god, deals with the howling winds and the rains and storms. So that's essentially what it's about, storms and difficulties. And it does actually deal with severe weather. So during this time, you know, this will be a time to look out for storms, bad weather, and symbolically just dealing with like the storms of life, the power, things that are forging forward. This is going to be a difficult time, regardless of where Jupiter is, because during this time, Mars and Ketu will be coming together in the sign of Leo. So I suspect that between June and July, especially towards the end of July, when Rahu and Ketu come together, it's going to be a difficult time. But back to Jupiter, because Jupiter will protect. It is in the sign of Gemini that will deal with specifically trades and communications, but things will get really stormy, if I could say that, during this window of time. And what's so interesting is after the nakshatra Ardra that deals with the storms. And by the way, the symbol for Ardra is a teardrop. And you know, I was going back and I was talking about the 12 years cycle that Jupiter has. Well, when we go back 12 years to 2012, at 2013 and 2014, this is actually when Jupiter was in Gemini before. And what I came up with was what was in the news was Edward Snowden and all of the issues around WikiLeaks. That was the big deal. And Jupiter was in Gemini. So this has to do specifically with what? Communications, things that came out. Edward Snowden, he was the one that revealed, through, you know, putting out all the information that he found. He actually exposed all of the, you know, things with the Secret Service, with the United States, and plans dealing with war and protection. This was not a good thing. But also, he was praised because he exposed a lot of corruption on politicians and things of this nature. So there was good and bad. But the whole point is that there was great exposure of things that were supposed to be secret. And therefore, I think this again is going to be about exposure of things that are secret, a lot of corruption, a lot of things that have been hidden for so long. Jupiter in Gemini is going to bring this out because that's what happened 12 years ago. But, you know, if I go back another 12 years from that point on, Jupiter was in Gemini during 9/11. So, and it was in this nakshatra Ardra, which symbol is a teardrop and deals with storms, crises, problems. But during that time, the reason why 9/11 was so much more catastrophic than 2013 and 14 is because Jupiter was conjunct Rahu. And I talk so much about when Rahu and Ketu come into the sign of Gemini, Rahu in Gemini and Ketu in Sagittarius, in all of my writing, all of my books, because that always produces catastrophic events. So what actually happened during that time of 2001, 9/11, September 11th, was that Rahu and Jupiter were in Gemini in Ardra, but it had to do with Rahu. See, when Rahu comes together with Jupiter or Saturn, major events happen, and as well as the outer planets. So, but this one was tied up with Jupiter, Rahu, and in this treacherous nakshatra in the sign of Gemini. So we could go back every 12 years, but I think you get my point here that when it's Rahu involved, that's when the catastrophic events happen. So 12 years ago in 2013 and 14, it wasn't as catastrophic because Jupiter was not with Rahu. But still, in Ardra, expect some major uprisings and problems and violence and issues. But then by August 12th through through June 1st, when Jupiter will be in, well, first it's going to go into Cancer for a very short time. That will be actually, as I said before, October 18th through December 5th, that Jupiter will go 0 degrees of Cancer, station, turn retrograde, go back into Gemini by December 5th through June 1st of 2026. But during all of this time, it will be in the nakshatra Purnavasu. So in other words, from August 12th through June 6th of 2025 to 2026, all of that time Jupiter is in the nakshatra Purnavasu. It's one of my favorite nakshatras. It means a return of the light. And what is so fascinating about these nakshatras, it's a whole story in the heavens. Because after the storm god, the heavy storms and the tears and the sadness of Ardra, comes the return of the light. What does that mean? After the storm comes the bright sunny day. So things are going to clear up after this with Jupiter in Purnavasu, return of the light. That's what it literally means. This is a beautiful nakshatra. It's even ruled by Jupiter. Whereas Ardra, that nakshatra, is ruled by Rahu, which is extremes. So you see, we have this short window of time, which is so interesting because Mars and Ketu indicate, as well as Jupiter being in Ardra, this difficult time between June 13th through August 12th, then the return of the light. Then I think the peace will prevail and beautiful things will come out of the communications of Jupiter being in the sign of Gemini. Healings about communications, the digging up, the uncovering of the things that we can't believe, the corruption, the crime, all of these really heinous things that have been going on beneath the surface will come up and be revealed. And it will be a return of the light. And Jupiter in Gemini is going to clear the air with all that's been going on in the terms of media, communications. And I want to say this, I believe with the media and all the communications and where the outer planets have been going as well, there's been so much that has been brainwashing and controlling the people around the world. It all kind of started with COVID. So you're going to see that this is a clearing, a purging, and a healing of what? Communications. And also what's been going on in schools and education, a clearing and improvement in how we educate our children and any of the schools for adults as well. This is true education, the truth coming out. This is fantastic. So Jupiter, as it goes through Gemini, will have an incredible healing for the world in terms of the communications, in terms of fair trade, and the economy will improve, get better. Now I'm saying it's going to take a while, but it will return to prosperity. And I think it's by the time Jupiter goes into Cancer, because that will be in June 1st that it will go into Cancer and remain there for about a year. But there's that short window of time when Jupiter does go into Cancer, as I said, October 18th through December 5th, we will get a glimpse of where Jupiter, what it will be like when it is in Cancer to remain by June. And I think it's a beautiful healing because remember, Jupiter is exalted. Its most favorite place to be is in Cancer. But getting there, we have to clear the air. Remember, Gemini is an air sign. It deals with air, communications, everything to do with how we connect, And Jupiter will reveal the truth in this sign. It's going to be absolutely a revelation with healing, with how we communicate, how we get information across, the inventions. Even with space and travel, we're going to see revelations come about with inventions with this. And I think we're going to have cars with no drivers. Self-driving cars are going to be the rage and the future, beginning with Jupiter in Gemini. Gemini is about transit, getting places, connecting. This is all about new ways of transportation and travel as well. Even with airplanes, the way that we travel, things will improve and change and get better. Maybe there's a way that we can get through security without it being such a hassle and a pain to get through. There's going to be revelations with travel. Make it easier, make it more fun again. Can you imagine that? And the world is going to improve with this revelation, the communications, the education, the trade, the way that we do business in the world. We got to go through this rough spot to get there though, and we're going to make it, and it's going to be a better world. I look forward to Jupiter in the sign of Gemini. And do not forget, if you really want to get the answers on how it's going to affect you personally, get my galactic planner. Seriously, you're going to love it. It's going to go in it goes into great detail about all of the transits and how they affect you personally in your own individual birth chart. Gives you predictions every day. So with that, go to galacticplanner.com. But overall, I hope you enjoyed my revelations about Jupiter as it enters into the sign of Gemini and how it's going to change our world. Thank you.